Thanks for joining me. In September 2024, Microsoft, a software company, not a utility, signed a 20-year agreement to restart a nuclear reactor that had been shut down since 2019. Not a solar farm, not a wind contract, a nuclear reactor. 3 Mile Island until one now named or renamed the Crane Clean Energy Center, expected to deliver the first electrons to Microsoft's data centers in 2027. It was, at signing, the largest corporate nuclear power agreement in history, and it turned out to be only the opening move. To understand why a software company would do this, you have to understand the constraint it's solving for. Training and running large AI models in extraordinarily electricity-intensive and, unlike most computing workloads, it needs that electricity continuously, 24 hours a day, every day at enormous and growing scale. Solar and wind are excellent tools for decarbonizing an electricity grid, but by their physical nature, they are intermittent. The sun sets, the wind varies for a workload that can't tolerate interruption. Intermittent power alone doesn't solve the problem. What AI infrastructure needs is what engineers call firm, dispatchable baseload power. And in a decarbonizing energy system, nuclear is one of the few resources that can provide that around the clock, without carbon emissions. Once Microsoft moved, the rest of the industry followed with striking speed. Google committed to up to 500 megawatts of power from Kairos Power's small modular reactor design. Amazon invested over $700 million in X-Energy, securing rights to as many as 12 next-generation reactors while separately expanding an existing nuclear offtake agreement with Talent Energy to nearly 2 gigawatts through 2042 to power its Susquehanna data center campus. Meta moved most aggressively of all, signing agreements across 4 separate nuclear developers: TerraPower, Oklo, Vistra, and Constellation, for up to 6.6 gigawatts of capacity by 2035. Taken together, as of mid-2026, the major technology companies have committed to more than 10 gigawatts of new or restarted nuclear capacity in barely 18 months. For comparison, that is roughly equivalent to the entire operating nuclear fleet of a mid-sized European country. The honest engineering answer is that this isn't an either-or choice. These companies are still building enormous amounts of solar and wind capacity too, but nuclear solves a specific problem. Renewables structurally count. Energy density and reliability in a small physical footprint, with no dependence on weather. A single large AI training cluster running tens of thousands of advanced GPUs can draw upward of 150 to 200 megawatts continuously, comparable to the electricity use of an entire small city. Matching that kind of concentrated, always on demand with intermittent generation alone would require enormous overbuilding and storage capacity that doesn't yet exist at scale. Nuclear's steady output profile is, in this specific context, a better physical match for the workload that any renewable source can currently offer on its own. Even with the capital and the contracts in place, this build-out runs into the same great bottleneck we have discussed in relation to AI infrastructure more broadly: getting new or restarted generation actually connected to the grid. The Crane Clean Energy Center restart required a specific transmission waiver from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission approved in June 2026 to transfer grid connection rights from a different site, so the project could proceed on schedule. This is small, technical sounding regulatory action, but it illustrates the broader pattern. Even when a company has billions of dollars and a signed contract, the physical grid interconnection process remains the genuine rate limiting step. Nuclear restarts and new builds don't solve the grid bottleneck. They still have to navigate it. This shift has real second-order effects worth understanding. Technology companies are no longer just purchasing electricity. In several of these deals, they are directly underwriting the financing of new reactor construction, a role historically reserved for regulated utilities. That capital commitment is giving previously speculative small modular reactor developers the offtake agreements they need to actually secure financing and begin construction, effectively accelerating an entire industry's timeline. For investors and infrastructure planners, the practical implication is that electricity generation, grid interconnection rights, and nuclear supply chain capacity have become strategic assets in the AI economy, arguably as consequential to a company's growth trajectory as chip supply itself. 20 years ago, the story of nuclear power in much of the West was one of quiet retreat, aging plants, cancelled projects, and industry searching for relevance. Today, the companies rewriting the future of computing are the ones writing the checks to bring that industry back. It is a reminder that even the most abstract technological revolution, artificial intelligence, ultimately has to answer to the physical world it runs on. Thank you so much for your presence. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you have any questions, please leave them. I will go through every and each comment of you, and I will reply to it personally. Thank you so much once again for your presence, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next